We should not have called Bashar Assad a reformer when he was turning his Russian-provided guns on his own people. We should always stand up for peace, for democracy, for individual rights. And we should not be imposing these devastating defense cuts, because what that does, when we equivocate on our values, when we show that we're cutting our own defense, it makes us more weak. It projects weakness, and when we look weak, our adversaries are much more willing to test us. They're more brazen in their attacks, and our allies are less willing to trust us.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
And why is that so?
Because not a single thing he said is accurate. First of all,
be specific.
I will be very specific. Number one, this lecture on embassy security. The congressman here cut embassy security in his budget by $300 million below what we asked for. Number one. So much for the embassy security piece. Number two.
And that's what I shall do. The security threats in Libya, including the unchecked extremist groups who are armed to the teeth, exist because our nation spurred on a civil war, destroying the security and stability of Libya. And, no one defends Gaddafi. Libya was not in a meltdown before the war. In 2003, Gaddafi reconciled with a community of nations by giving up his nation's pursuit of nuclear weapons. And now, during the Arab Spring, uprisings across the Middle East occurred, and Gaddafi made ludicrous threats against Benghazi. Based on those verbal threats, we intervened, absent constitutional authority, I might add. This should not be a partisan issue. Let's avoid the hype. Let's look at the real situation here. Interventions do not make us safer. They do not protect our nation. They are themselves a threat to America. Now, Mr. Kennedy, I would like to ask you, is al-Qaeda more or less established in Libya since our involvement?
Mr. Kucinich, I will have to take that question for the record. I am not an intelligence expert.
Oh, you don't have the intelligence, you're saying. Well, I'm going to go on to the next question. The next question. Are Americans safer, Mr. Kennedy? Excuse me.
I think the other two may have an opinion also, if you wanted to ask them.
Well, I wanted to ask Ambassador Kennedy. Next question, Ambassador Kennedy. How many shoulder-to-air missiles are capable of shooting down civilian passenger airlines are still missing in Libya? And this happened since our intervention. Can you answer that question?
No, sir. I'll be glad to provide it for the record.
You're saying that you don't know?
I do not know, sir. It's not within my normal purview of operations at the State Department.
Does anyone else here know how many shoulder-to-air missiles that can shoot down civilian airliners are still loose in Libya? Does anyone know?
The figures that we were provided were fluid, but the rough approximation was between 10 and 20,000.
Yeah, the gentleman's time has expired. Did you want them to answer anything about al-Qaeda growth?
If anyone there knows the answer.
If anyone has an answer on that one, they can answer, and then we'll move on.
Is al-Qaeda more or less established in Libya since our involvement?
Yes, sir, and their presence grows every day. They are certainly more established than we are.
Thank you. With that, we recognize the chairman of the subcommittee and a doggedly determined individual to get to the bottom of this, Mr. Chaffetz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nordstrom, as we spoke before, and I think is clear in the record, you were asking for more personnel, and that was either rejected or denied or just simply ignored, correct?
Actually, to clarify, we were asking just to keep what we had.
And when you weren't able to just even keep what you had, what happened to your pay and the other security officers on the ground?
I'm sorry.
As I recall, what you told me is when that was denied, you were given a pay increase. They increased your pay.
Okay. What I think you're referring to is the increase in danger pay for post. As part of normal procedures, we are asked for input at post. As part of that process, would provide information on security.
To clarify, you were asking for more assets, more resources, more personnel. That was denied. But the State Department went back and reclassified it as more dangerous. The danger pay, therefore, increased. They didn't tell you that we didn't have resources, hey, that Congress just cut your budget. They gave you an increase because the danger was rising, correct?
That's correct. We received a danger pay increase.